Picture the scene. I arrive in a 5-star hotel in Shanghai with Prime Minister Tony Blair and my fellow journalists from the British press pack. I enter my room, kick off my shoes, throw my laptop on the bed, and then head straight for the minibar. Crouching in front of the tiny fridge, I start gorging on its contents. I break up the giant chocolate bar and mindlessly shovel piece after piece into my mouth. Next, I open the enormous plastic tub of peanuts and eat handful after handful, even the ones that scatter across the floor. Am I hungry? Not in the slightest. Rather, I'm terrified, and binging on food numbs my fear and disconnects me from my feelings, at least momentarily. What am I afraid of? Everything. I'm afraid I'm not good enough. I'm afraid I'll make a mistake with my work, that my boss will tell me off, that I'll lose my job, my home, and end up sleeping on the streets. Because while I have the skills and experience to be a global reporter for the news agency Reuters, I feel like I don't deserve to be here. I'm a fake, a fraud, an imposter, and soon I'll be found out, and then I'll be rejected, abandoned, and ultimately, I won't survive. So I eat, piling sugar on top of carbs, and then layering more sweet stuff on top. Then I head downstairs for dinner with my colleagues before retreating to the safety of my room to eat whatever is left until my fear is completely anesthetized and all I can feel is a terrible pain in my stomach and mountains of shame and self-hate. Nobody has any idea, of course. My food addiction is a secret. On the outside, I'm a competent, confident journalist, ready to seize the microphone and quiz Tony Blair or anyone else in power. I smile a lot, I'm sociable, and by this point, I'm pretty slim. I've lost the weight I used to carry through punishing exercise and extreme dieting. On the inside, though, I'm a cobweb of chronic insecurities and have been ever since I was a little girl, which is when I first learned to use food to change how I felt. I can't tell you how young I was when I first sensed I wasn't safe. It may have been before I could speak. My parents were disconnected from their own emotions, so they couldn't connect to mine. They couldn't give me what I needed to feel secure. Unable to handle my fear and my pain, yet wired for survival, I looked for something to take it away. Food was my first crutch, my first survival tool. Sugar and carbs brought me instant relief and comfort. But as soon as I started binge eating, I couldn't stop. By my mid-teens, the food had control of me. By my early 20s, I was overweight and I hated how I looked. Alcohol was another crutch. Emboldened by booze, I felt powerful, indestructible, able to do things that I couldn't do when I was sober. I wonder if you can relate to that. Adrenaline numbed my fear too, and I got my fixes through drama-filled relationships and a career that encouraged me to run towards danger rather than away from it. I was bold and fearless when reporting on tsunamis or earthquakes or terrorist attacks. But I was terrified of people, of living, and of life. I was terrified of intimacy. I didn't want you to see into me. My job, with its kudos and the opportunity to rub shoulders with VIPs, was part of my armor. My status was my shield. Food and alcohol were my defenses. I was a rock, an island. I built walls around me. It was me against the world. As for the planet, what planet? I was completely disconnected from myself, from other people, and from the world around me. I'd run around the park, but I wouldn't stop to smell the roses or to notice the leaves on the trees. I'd race along the beach, but I wouldn't pause to pick up a shell or feel the sand between my toes. I was never present. I was always running around, busy, thinking, doing, planning, worrying. What do I need to do around here to be safe? Who do I need to be for you to like me? Like a startled horse, I was permanently in flight. But this fast-paced, self-destructive way of living wasn't sustainable. My crutches stopped working, and eventually I crashed, mentally and emotionally. My back gave way, I collapsed and blacked out after a heavy night on the drink. I got depressed and I sobbed in the bath. One evening, I knelt by my bed, looked up and asked, "What's the point of my life?" I was a mid-30s woman with a desk in the Houses of Parliament, an impressive CV, and a nice London flat. But I had no partner, no children, no relationship with myself, and not a shred of peace. Feeling hopeless, I contemplated stepping out in front of a double-decker bus, a fleeting yet frightening thought. Thankfully, I chose healing over escape. My journey began with slowing down and sitting still. I had to learn to be without my crutches or my masks, without the food or the alcohol, without the job, and to feel my feelings rather than run away from them. That journey required a huge amount of courage and still requires a huge amount of courage. Not the bravado that saw me running towards conflict, but true courage. Courage I never knew I had. Courage to be real, to be vulnerable. The courage to tell you what's really going on inside. The courage to trust others and to ask for help. To heal my early life wounds. The courage to accept that I'm not a rock or an island and I can't do life on my own. The courage to tell my story, to be seen, to stand up here, which is terrifying. The courage to let down my walls and develop healthy boundaries. And the courage to walk away from a job, an identity that had provided me with so many highs, but that had brought me to my knees. Ironically, the planet I'd felt so separate from played a huge part in bringing me home to myself. Nature showed me how to swap the unhealthy highs for healthy ones and exchange drama for peace. I learned to pause and notice the pink of the petals and the greens and browns of the leaves. I learned to stop to feel the smoothness of the stone or the roughness of the bark. And as I surrendered my armor and softened to the beauty of the earth, I found the cushion, the comfort, the safety net, and the peace that I had been searching for all along. A dip in the ocean became my best medicine. A total mind and body reset that switches off the washing machine spin cycle in my head, connects me to the here and now, and lifts my soul and spirit. Floating on my back, gazing up at the big skies, I feel held like never before. I am a human being enveloped by the vastness of the ocean, supported by something much greater than me, rather than a human doing, cut off from myself and from others. The sea gave me courage and continues to give me courage to face my fears, to pick myself up when I fall down. And the sea also gives me the gift of perspective. I am a tiny speck on this planet for a mere moment of time compared to these waters and grains of sand. So how shall I use my moment? Will I take care of my body and mind today? Will I use my natural gifts and talents? Will I inspire others by living boldly and freely? Will I make a positive impact on this world? Or will I stay small, stay stuck, stay trapped, play it safe, remain reliant on my crutches and survival tools? How wonderful to have the choice after so many years in the grips of addictions. How wonderful that we all have the choice. So how will you use your choice? How will you use this moment on the earth? Will you let down your defenses, let go of any unhealthy coping mechanisms, face your fears, heal your wounds, and flourish? Or will you settle for survival, for just getting by? The answer matters. It really matters, not just for your own health and well-being, but also for our planet. Because if we want to sustain others and sustain the world, we must first sustain ourselves. Sustainability begins at home. It begins with how we treat our bodies and our minds, with how we take care of our inner climate. If we are trashing ourselves with excess booze or food or work or screens or whatever our drug of choice, how can we respect other people or cherish the natural world? If we are disconnected from ourselves, how can we connect to others? We can't. But when we find the courage to break free from the traps, the addictions, the unhealthy relationships, the mind-numbing jobs, or the windowless offices, and truly take care of ourselves, then we flourish. And we inspire others to break free and do the same. So let me ask you this. Where are you on the flourishing spectrum? Are you thriving or barely surviving, or somewhere in between? And what small steps can you take to flourish more? The changes can be as subtle as you like, but they begin with connection. A deeper breath, a moment of meditation, time spent feeling your feelings, a slow walk in the park, a longer lunch break, a dip in the ocean, a call to a therapist, an honest conversation with a partner, a neighbor, or a friend. And how can you let go of the things that disconnect you and block you from flourishing? The late night TV, the toxic people, the screens, the alcohol, the food. As you've heard, these steps will require courage. Feeling your feelings will be scary after years of running away from them. Telling someone how you truly feel might be terrifying after wearing masks for so long. Walking away from a relationship that's harming you, or walking towards one that offers you true intimacy, may leave you quaking in your boots. Swapping a career that sent your soul to sleep for one that makes your spirit soar may seem too big a leap of faith. If it feels scary, know that it is meant to. It is uncomfortable to step out of our comfort zones. But this is where the healing happens. This is where the growth occurs. And this is where the magic lies for us and for our world. Where to start? We can start right here by feeling our feelings. Not just the surface ones, but the deep ones. I invite you to step inside. I invite you to tap into the wise, bold being inside and to connect with the spirited, brave child you once were. The part of you that was there before the defenses, before the armor, before the crutches, before the fear and the self-doubt. I invite you to connect to the wounded child too, the frightened child, to reparent yourself, reassure yourself, tell yourself what you always needed to hear. In my case, this would be, it's safe to flourish, Katherine. It's safe to be seen. It's safe to stand here. It's safe to trust people. Your flourishing is welcome. More than that, it's essential. Next, ask those around you for support. Share your struggles and get all the help that you need. We can't do this on our own. Then lean into the healing power of the planet. She has your back, just as you have hers. Draw on her mighty resources. Float in the ocean, let it take all your weight. Lean against a tree, feel the strength of its trunk. Plant your feet firmly on the ground, wiggle your toes into the earth. Take off your masks, break free from your traps, and find the courage to connect to yourself, to others, and to the world. Then, feeling connected, supported, emboldened, and truly alive, go for it, whatever it is. Do your thing, have your say, make your mark, create your impact. Knowing that every time you choose to live courageously over living fearfully, every time you choose thriving over surviving, you inspire others to do the same. Thank you.